Okay, to see if Allosarus are viable or not, we went ahead and tamed a whole bunch of them, and then I took the highest HP melee and the highest HP in melee, and we're going to check those out right now. So we're going to start with the high melee here. Right, this guy was born with 325 melee, which is pretty good for an Allosaurus. Not born, sorry, tamed or whatever. Alright, and then we're just going to focus on melee on this one, just to see how high melee you can get when we level this guy up, right? So we're going to find out here real quick. Take a little bit of time. I wish you could just hold this down and fill it up, but look up forward. Alright, so a tamed Allosaurus can have 813 melee once it's max level. Right, after it starts with 325, but then that leaves its hit points with pretty much nothing, right? 4,700, that's a, you know, couple of bites or whatever. It won't take long to kill him. But now we have a high HP one. Alright, and this one tamed out with, you know, 5,166. Now I know some of you are going to say it's a little high because, you know, it has maybe 2 or 3 more levels than it would if you tamed it, but I mean, that's not going to make a huge difference. Alright, so let's see how many hit points we can get once we fully max this guy's level out. Alright, so when we fully have maxed out, it has almost 30,000 hit points, but its melee suffers, right? So you have to find a mix between where to put the levels to get the maximum amount usefulness out of these guys for boss fighting. As we can see, without breeding, so far they're pretty decent. And this, of course, would be our breeder because it already has the hit points and the melee together. So let's level this guy up and do a mix. Okay, so to get his melee to a reasonable place, we had to sacrifice quite a bit of hit points. So as we can see, this would be your standard without breeding. Alright, then if you bred, you can increase it by 30% with the imprint. We can see after breeding these guys quite a bit, for a while, you might get some decent stats out of them. So for the first test against Alpha Fenrir, we'll use some stats that you would be able to get from breeding Allosaurus for a couple of weeks and with imprint bonus and stuff. The Allos going into the first test will have 90 to 100 armor saddles, so that we stay consistent with the other tests. They have 14 to 16k hit points and 600 to 700 melee. We'll see how well this works out against Fenrir. Of course, like in the other videos, I'm using God mode just to let it not get killed instantly and ruin the test. I will also be UD buffing, just like the other dinos from the previous test. This is on a server with official settings. The dino levels do not matter. There are a lot of wasted points in things like oxygen, movement speed, and so on, just to get the stats needed for the melee and hit points for testing. When breeding to reach these stats, the dinos will be at a much lower level. The test does not appear to be going very well. The Allos just don't seem to be cutting it. And of course, Allo Bleed doesn't work on the boss. And as you can see, these Allos stood no chance. And as little as they did, I doubt Allos will work. But we will try some with much higher stats and see how that goes. Okay, so as we saw, with the reasonable stats and expectations of being able to get Allosaurus to that point with mutating them, maybe it takes a while to get to that point mutating them. I'm not a huge breeder. I don't know about all this, but I know it takes a long time to get stats up. Anyway, so those failed. So let's see what happens when we go to the extreme, right? I don't even know if these stats are possible without mutating for years. But on average, these Allosaurus are going to have 21,000 hit points and 922 melee. Don't worry about their levels. It has to be that way to get these stats to this point. They would not be this high level if you're breeding them correctly. Okay, and of course I'm going to use God mode because I don't want to die during this test just by getting shot off the back of the UD and failing the test. If the Allosaurus in no way will be affected by me being in God mode. They'll either work or they won't. Focus UD. Okay, here we go again. Let's see if this works. Can I whistle attack from here? Yes. Alright. They're not listening. Here we go. Come on, we gotta get to him before his buddies spawn. Probably need to go this way. Not good, not good. Duties. Oh, there they go. They're going in. Alright, gotta get them buffed. Gotta get them buffed. Here we go. Let's see if this is even enough for Allosaurus. Should be, but... Come on, little wolf, go away. Oh well, whatever. Didn't mess up the test really by having one wolf on me. I know this is not single player. This test is being done on a server set up to have official settings, so this boss is just as strong as the official boss. If you're playing single player, the bosses are weaker no matter what you do with the settings. So this boss is much easier to beat on single player. Now that being said, just because it's easier on... Oh, why are they all targeting me, not the Allos? I gotta mess with the test. I gotta bring them by. Scrape them off on the Allos here. Don't poop. Come on, Yudi. That being said, single player bosses are weaker for a reason. You definitely don't want to... they didn't want to make the bosses too difficult on single just because, you know, you're by yourself and things go wrong all the time in the game without the bosses being super strong. You could always just... Some glitch could happen, you mess up, although maybe more likely on a server. You get disconnected on a server during a boss fight, everything's dead. It really sucks. Some players purposely drop your server to get you killed while you're in a boss fight. I've had that happen a few times when we're in a war with someone. It sucks, it's annoying, but it happens. But yeah, the bosses on single player really could be made stronger though, because your stats on single player are generally higher too. But they don't want you spending a whole lot of time, I think, on single player breeding. I think that's the deal. So they give you the higher stats to get going faster, so you can complete the game. I do enjoy playing single player from time to time. That's how I started learning the game, actually. It was a big jump though when I went from single to officials. Alright, here come the little wolves. Alright, and this test, I'm telling you, is not going well. These guys have a lot of melee and a lot of health for Allosaurus, and they just aren't able to do it. Don't have the damage. Yeah, they're, I don't know if they're gonna succeed. We're already starting to lose them. Hey, why are they distracted? Come on, a couple out there, get up here and kill the boss. Those wolves are never ending. That isn't, you're not gonna ever get rid of them. Killing the little wolves, I mean, you can have one, if you have extra players in this boss fight, you can have one or so keeping the little wolves distracted with a couple of, but for the most part, they just constantly spawn. Never gonna really get rid of all of them. So it's better just, once the boss dies, they all go away. The interval between spawning them, and if you can kill them fast, I mean, when they first drop down, then you have a few moments without them, but, you know, Allosaurus, they aren't boss fighting material. I mean, look at these guys, they're losing. And now it's distracted by me, so I have to leave. That's not gonna... Well, as we can tell, this test has failed either way. 3 Allos left, still over half. Yeah, Allos are just not good boss fighters, even with high melee and high HP for the Allos. Those stats would probably take you so long to get. If you'd focused on Rexes, you'd be better off. You'd be able to kill every boss with the Rexes. If you enjoyed this video, smash that like button. Have an awesome day.